Hey there, nation. Welcome to the show. We show you how to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and welcome to the ninth Saga Battle Report number 12. This is a 5,000 point battle between myself with my House Lainel Highborn Elves army versus my buddy Burps O Blood of the Legion of the Hellmouth of his Ogre army. So this is a 5,000 point battle. We're going to see basically what happens when a bunch of High Elves, Highborn Elves, taking a bunch of fatty back Ogres. It should be interesting to say the least. Alright, so let's talk about my army, House Lainel, the Silvery Host of Kalador. It is a 5,000 point Highborn Elves army. For my characters, we have Lord Tywin Lainel. He is a High Prince with a High Warden of the Flame Honor, Heavy Armor Shield, and the Spear of Blazing Dawn. Next comes my Archmage Tytos Lainel. He's a mage with 3 up learned spells, Wizard Master upgrade. He's got the Asvad Scholar Honor, and he's carrying the Book of Melodies for a magic item. He's also using the Path of Cosmology on this one. And my last character is Captain Tanis Lainel. He's a commander with the Battle Center Bear upgrade, Fleet Officer upgrade, shield, heavy armor, halberd, bow, cloak of stars, and the banner of discipline. For my core choices, we have the Lothern Sea Guards, or 23 Sea Guards at full command, the Silver Helms, 10 Highborn Lancers at full command, and the Illyrian Reavers, who are 5 lean Reavers with bows. For my special choices, we have the Swordmasters of Hoeth, 19 Swordmasters at full command, and the banner of becalming, the Phoenix Guard, which are 23 Flame Wardens with full command, and the White Lions, which are 15 Lion Guards at full command, and the Flaming Standard. And for my Peacekeepers, we have the Reigns of Keldor, which are 2 Sea Guard Reapers, and that makes up my 5,000 point army for this one. Alright, so let's talk about Burpso Bloods, the Legion of the Hellmouth. It is a 5,000 point Ogre Khan's army. For his character, he has Taijin Khan, the right fist of hell. He is a great Khan with the Armor of Fortune, Charm of Cursed Iron, and the Hellfist big name. Next comes Burpo Bloods, that's just Shama with 3 up spells, Wizard Mastered. He's equipped with the Demon Heart, the Talisman of Greater Shielding, and the Path of Thaumaturgy. Now, on a special note on that one, when we started this battle, we forgot that he had to use the Path of Thaumaturgy on that one because the Hellfist upgrade that he gave his general. So he actually used Shamanism for a little while until we figured out that we made a mistake there. For his for his core, he has the bulls, which are 7 tribesmen with full command, equipped with Iron Fist, the Iron Guts, which are 11 bruisers with full command, and the Skull of Queen Get. For his special choices, he has the Morn Fang, which are 4 Tusker Cavalry with full command, Iron Fist, and the Stalker Standard. For his powder kegs, he has the Lead Belchers, which are 8 Bombardiers with full command, the Flaming Standard, and the Hammer of the Gods, which is a Thunder Cannon with Chain Beasts. For his Chain Beasts, he has the Fraggle Rock, who is his Rock and that brings up 5,000 points for this one. And here's deployment. So as you can see, we're playing on our 4x6 table. As you can see, we're kind of divided with that whole diagonal type deployment. I took the far side of the board. My opponent took the near side of the board on this one. As you can see, that both armies are pretty much laid out in straight lines, heading straight towards each other. So let's go ahead and talk about the individual deployment areas for this one. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about the left-hand deployment for my army. As you can see there, I got my Reigns of Kalador stationed up on that hill, so they got a good field of fire across the diagonal location of the board there. Right next to them, I have my 10 Silverhelm Knights are located there right there on the flank to kind of anchor that down and kind of secure it for my main body. And then right next to them, I have my 19 Swordmaster of Hoth with my Archmage located inside there as well, so to kind of anchor down my left-hand flank for the center of my lines. So that's the deployment here on the left-hand side. And make up my center lines. You can see in this picture, I have my Phoenix Guard who are located right there in the center with my general located in that unit as well. Kind of make up the main block of my center portion of my army. And then on the right-hand side there of my center line, I have my Lothern Sea Guard. I have all 23 of them located there with my Battle Center Bearer, who's my fleet officer as well. And he's kind of over there, kind of holding down the right-hand side of my center portion. And secure my far right hand flank. As you see in the back, I got my white lines. All 15 of them are located right there, right back behind my 5 Illyrian Reavers. Four of those guys are kind of deployed right there in front of those woods, and they're there just to kind of anchor down my right hand flank and to protect that side from any flank charges. So with my deployment, let's go and talk about Burpso Blood's army. Alright, so start off the left-hand flank of the deployment for the Ogre Khans. You can see there we have the Anvil of the Gods, which is his Thunder Cannon. He's holding down his left flank there. And right next to him, he has his 4 Tusker Cavalry members that's called his Mornfang. They're located there as well. They're equipped with light armor and Iron Fist as well. And that's a pretty deadly unit because they have the combined wounds. They also have the combined attacks from both those guys. Real hard Anvil unit right there on the right-hand side of his flank. So, yeah, with that, we move on to the center portion. Making up the center of his army, as you can see, he has his massive unit of 11 Iron Guts located right there in the center. His general, his Great Khan, is also located there as well, so that's going to be one huge bust. I'm going to have to figure out how to break there here in a little bit. And right next to them on the right-hand side, securing the right-hand side, there is his 8 Lead Belchers, his Bombardiers. And so that's going to be kind of a rough one for me to deal with as well. So like I said before, pretty steady center line, a lot of deadly shooting, a lot of deadly close combat in that unit. And finally, making up his far right hand flank, he has his Fraggle Rock located right there in the middle of his, right next to his center line. And on the very far right, he has his Bulls, which are his 7 Orc Tribesmen, with his level 4 Shaman located there and there as well. So, pretty secured right hand flank as well. Basically, these guys are becoming charging right at me, and I'm just got to try to whittle them down as best I can before I make close combat with them, because this is an Ogre Khan's army, so they're going to come straight at me. All I have to do is basically try to bait them into combats that I think are good for me, and then finish them off of that way. So, with deployment done, we go directly onto the top of turn number 1 for this one. All right, here's a photo of the top of turn 1 after move phase for the Highborn Elves. As you can see, I kind of moved my army kind of slowly. I vanguard up and moved up my Lyrian Reavers up there in the front to try to kind of bait and kind of hopefully draw his Rock Rock into charging me and actually kind of draw him out as well, so that way I can shoot that guy and basically get rid of him. For the rest of my units there, as you can see there, for the rest of the center portion, they just kind of move up about 5 inches their normal movement range. I got the Phoenix Guard taking point, followed by my Swordmaster's Vote take up the left-hand flank. I also got my Sea Guard there on the right-hand side as well, and I also moved up my light lines to move into that forested area as well to kind of take cover amongst the trees there. As you see in the very far left-hand side there, to kind of do like a quick button hook to the left with my Silver Helm, so that way they can get good flank charges off from that main line. So that pretty much makes a move for this one. During the magic phase, I got some pretty good solid dice rolls in that part. However, my opponent was also pretty rolling pretty solid too for his dispels. So what I basically managed to do is I actually got my spells off onto my Silverhelm Knights to kind of give them a +1 to their weapon skill as well, to kind of help them out, kind of take on anything that comes their way, because these guys need to have all the support they need for close combat, because right after the charge, pretty much they got nothing else to help them out on that part with that one. So that spell was called, Altered Sight was the name of that spell that I got off from that unit. So I got them kind of set up to get ready to charge whatever comes up their way as well. I also managed to cast off Unity and Divergence onto my unit of Swordmasters as well. That gives them a +5 ward save on that part. So that's really going to be kind of helpful, especially if anything starts shooting or even charges at them for the next turn. So yeah, that pretty much makes it the magic phase on this one. Nothing really happened for shooting. I wasn't able to injure anything at all. My bolt throwers were subpar on this part, and since no one's in close combat, we go directly to bottom of turn number 1 actually. All right, this is a photo of bottom of turn number 1 after move phase for the Ogre Khans. As you can see with his army, he basically just moved up as quickly as he possibly could on this one. Luckily for him, he did not have to worry about losing the charge on his Frenzy for his Rock. Basically, he just moved up as close as he could to that unit of Illyrian Reavers. Same thing with his with his Bombardiers. They just kind of moved up as close as they could and try to like kind of mess with me on that part. So that part's kind of sad on that one. I was kind of hope to withdraw that Rock and try to pull him out and kind of get out of a position. On the flanks, however, his movements moved up really quickly on both sides of his flanks. You see on the left-hand side, his Mornfang Cavalry as well as his Thunder Cannon kind of move up to secure the left-hand side there, especially with the woods, because that unit has the Stalker standard, so they can charge through the woods if they need to. So that's going to be kind of rough. And also on the raw right-hand side there, you can see that his Wizard with his unit of Bulls is also moved to the right-hand side there and kind of threatening my right-hand flank. So with moving out of the way, we go directly into the magic phase. Before we get to the magic phase, I actually want to take a close up of this photo here just to kind of show you the genius that my buddy Burps of Blood actually has. As you can see, he moved to his Thunder Cannon real close to his Mornfang Cavalry as well. So when he did that, the reason why he did that, so in case if I try to charge to the flank of his Mornfang Cavalry, I won't be able to, because I won't be able to close the door with those guys and try to get in full rank with those guys, because that Thunder Cannon is kind of the way. So what I would have to do is try to run into the Thunder Cannon, and suppose if I do overrun the Over Cannon and destroy it, I'll be out of position to charge the flank or the rear of that Mornfang Cavalry. So pretty genius move from my partner. I just had to show that because he's like really talented on that part. Now then, during the magic phase, we forgot that he's not supposed to be using the path of shamanism because he took the Hellfist big name. He's supposed to be using the path of thaumaturgy, but we forgot. He forgot about that part. We did this roll, so we kind of made a mistake on the first part when it came to the magic phase, but we just kind of went with it for the first round. For the next turn, we actually correct that one. But as you can see in this picture, he gets off a totemic beast spell on that part, so he kind of sums up a new guy right there that go in the back there to put some pressure on my repeater bolt throwers in that part. However, to get that spell off, he did miscast on that part. He had to worry about Witch's Fire on that part. As you can see there, he lost about a quarter of his troops, lost 2 of those guys, and put an additional wound on one of his other ogres as well. So that part is actually kind of rough on, as far as that go. Luckily for him, he passed his panic check, and this is when we figured out that he is actually using the wrong magic path, because when he failed his first leadership roll, he went to go do another reroll real fast. He's like, oh wait, my guy has another reroll because of the Hellfist big name, and then he was reading the rules for it. He realized he was only supposed to use the path of thaumaturgy on that part. So because of that, we just kind of let it go for this battle phase, but for the next one, we actually made the correction on that part. So yeah, it's kind of like the dice gods were like, no, you shall use the right magic path that's just been assigned to you. So that was kind of cool. In the shooting phase, the worst magical thing possibly happened. We took his bombardiers and he opened up with those lead pilchers onto my units of Sea Guard. Even with long range, he was opening with those guys. He had to roll like I think like five, I think is what he had to do, but he managed to kill nine of my sea guards in that part there. It literally almost cut that unit almost in half on that part. I basically failed my first reroll, my first leadership test. Luckily for me, I had my reroll because my battle center bear was being there. But man, that was absolutely brutal. Those bombardiers can bring the pain when those guys are actually hitting right, and that part was really, really rough. I am now afraid of those guys. Ugh, worst day of my life. He then took his Thunder Cannon, the Anvil of the Gods, and basically opened up with that one as well. Lucky for me, though, when he opened with Volley Fire, he only managed to kill one of my Swordmasters. So that part was kind of nice. That 5 of War Save was what saved me on that part. So kudos to me for having that spell off. So that was pretty lucky on that part. So yeah, pretty rough on that part. So with shooting over, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Highborn Elves. Alright, so during this round, I actually tried to charge in with all my units on this part. Actually, not all my units. I tried to charge in on my left-hand units, actually. I went to go charge the Silver Helms with my into the unit of Morphing there. I also tried to charge my Swordmasters into that Thunder Cannon as well, but I managed to fail that roll, so those guys only inched up like a couple of inches in that part, so that part was kind of rough as well. So failed that part, so now my Silver Helms are totally on their own on that part. As for my Phoenix Guard and my Lothar Sea Guard, as you can see there, I moved my Phoenix Guard up closer to my enemy's lines to kind of hopefully get them kind of charging as well. I also rediverted my Leader and Reavers to kind of get in front of those boomers, so that way if they open up with those bombardiers, basically those guys will die, and not my Lothar Sea Guard. As you can see in the back there, I put my Lothar Sea Guard into column formation there to kind of stir up their ranks for the next close combat phases might be coming up. And on the right hand side there, I move up my White Lions in order to intercept anything that coming their way. So with moving out of the way, we go directly to the magic phase on this one. During the managed phase, I basically put a buff as well as a hex onto my opponent's unit as well. I gave my 5 award save to my Silverhelm Knights to kind of help them out with this combat because Morphine Cavalry can bring the pain when they want to, so I was kind of worried about that part. And on the hope chance I could actually do beat these Morphine Cavalrymen and actually get them making the break, I gave them a -1 to 1 to the leadership. I gave the spell, oh, what's it called? Not Perception or Strength. Oh, Mind Games. That way they get a -1 to the leadership. So if they do happen to have to make a break test, they have a -1 to do so, and that kind of helps out my guys kind of chase them down and run them down. So that pretty much makes the magic phase. With magic phase over, we go directly into the shooting phase. In the shooting phase, revenge ended up being mine. I did a combined fire with my Lothar and Sea Guard, as well as my Lyrian Reavers onto that unit of Bombardiers. I managed to kill 2 of those guys, managed to inflict 8 wounds on those guys, so that part was kind of nice. But because I inflicted a quarter of wounds on that unit, they had to take a break test on that part, the panic test. They failed. I re-rolled again because of the Hellfist. They also failed again, and they ran around about like 8 or 9 inches. So luckily for me, I got rid of those guys, got them out of play, so that part's kind of nice. Not to worry about those 2 guys too much. As you can see in the top there, I had both my bolt throwers open up onto the Anvil of Doom on that part, the Anvil of the Gods. I managed to get 2 wounds off on that chariot. It still got 3 more, so not as happy as it could have been, but you know, I'll take what I got. So with shooting out of the way, we go directly to the close combat phase. Oh my god, the close combat phase is absolutely brutal on this part. I managed only to inflict 3 wounds onto those Tuskers, and they managed to cut my unit in half, even with the ward seed that I had. I was pretty much lucky to get those 3 wounds that I basically did on the charge on that part too, with the strength bonus on that. So I got really, really lucky on that part. But man, those Morphine Cavalry are no joke whatsoever. I was absolutely unprepared how tough those guys were. Standing in my Silverhands on their own, even with the long bomb charge for my Swordmasters, is a really bad idea. These guys, once they're stuck with it, if they can't break you with the charge, basically they're SOL and they're out of luck on that part. So I should not have committed my Silver Helms like I did. I should have kept them back and then charged them the flank or done something else with them. But at this point, not much I can do about that. So right now you're about to see a unit get killed here in a second. All right, so that takes us to the top of turn number 2 after the movement phase. You can see in this picture, the Ogre Cons just charged with everything that they have is basically what they did. So you can see in the top in the middle there, basically charging his Anvil of the Gods, his Thunder Cannon charged directly into my Swordmasters of Hoeth, which is kind of rough there as well. He also sends that massive, huge unit of Bruisers with his Iron Goods, basically with his General attached to that unit as well. Ties up with my Phoenix Guard, so that part was kind of rough as well. In the back there, you can see that the Fraggle Rock is charged directly into my Lothar Sea Guard, which is kind of rough. I'm not looking forward to that. And on the right hand side, I'm actually looking forward to this. He charged in his bulls with his shaman into my White Lions. I'm ready to see how that combat really goes because I want to see my White Lions just chop those fools down and just get rid of those guys. So that part's kind of neat as well. Also, on the bottom there, you can see here that his Bombardiers also rallied as well. So with movement done, we go directly to the magic phase for the Ogre Cons. During the magic phase, his shaman cast the spell. I forget what it's called. Trial of Faith is what he tried to cast as well. So he got that spell off, managed to put 1 wound onto my onto my Archmage, which is actually kind of nice. But unfortunately for my opponent, he actually miscast on that. He basically cast overwhelming power and had to suffer the consequences for it. As you can see in this photo, he got Witch's Fire yet again and managed to cut his unit in half on that part as well. So the only thing he has left now is one Ogre with one wound remaining. He has the standard bearer for that unit, and he also has his Shaman, which is not going to be much of a challenge for my white lines to chop through, luckily for me. So that's what happened in the magic phase. So my poor opponent, man, he was just casting miscasts left and right on this part, so that was kind of rough. And because his Bombardiers rallied at the beginning of his turn, he has no shooting phase of this one, so with that we go directly to the close combat phase. As you can see in this picture, this is what happened immediately after the close combat phase, after all the combat was done and said and done. As you can see, those Mornfang Cavalry just butchered my Silverhelm Knights to the man. They basically combat reform, went to go face my Swordmasters as well. In the center portion there, originally his general as well as my general went at it in a challenge. We both inflicted a wound upon each other at peace. However, the close combat between our units between each other, that's where the deciding factor happened to take place. I managed to inflict 12 wounds onto those Iron Guts. They only managed to inflict 3 on my Phoenix Guard, so because of that, they broke. They had a run. I pursued. I think they rolled like a 4, and I rolled like 11 inches, so because of that, my guys are like way out there now. However, because he kind of overran that position there, I can kind of get them kind of repositioned and combat reform to kind of charge in the flank of those Morphane Cavalry guys there on the left-hand side. So that part is kind of nice as well. On the right-hand side there, as you can see there, I managed to inflict the 3 wounds onto that Rock. It managed to kill about a handful of my guys as well, but lucky for me, I was managed to stick out because I had my inspiring hold my ground rule with my battle standard bearer. On the very far right-hand there, you can see there my white lion just butchered that unit of ogres like it was nobody's business and managed to kill the general, the shaman as well. They did a quick combat reform and turned their charge into the flank of that Rock, and I'm looking forward to that one because Lion Guard get 2 wounds for multiple wounds too from when they go up against monsters, and I'm looking to see how that combat goes. So with combat phase over for the Ogre cons, we go directly to the top of turn number 3 for movement for the Highborn Elves. Alright, during the movement phase, you can see in this picture, I charged my Phoenix Guard as well as my Swordmaster's Health onto that unit of Morphing as well. We got to basically destroy those guys. And those guys are causing a lot of problems for me as well, so that part was kind of rough there. So you can see there, we just kind of charged in there. Both of my characters are carrying wounds on that part. We also suffered some wounds from those impact hits that happened to them last round as well, but we have to basically negate the strength of these Morphing Cavalry and try to take it out as quickly as possible. And with the 2-to-1 odds that we have here, especially with my Phoenix Guard helping them out, that's not going to be much of a problem on this side. As you can also see in this picture as well, I charged my white lions into the flank of the Rock, also charged in the back flank there with my Illyrian Reavers. So now we have that monster stuck in a full envelop, almost in a double envelopment now in this part. He's got Lothar Seaguard to the front, white lions hitting him on the rear, on the side. He's also got Illyrian Reavers hitting him in the back as well. So that should kind of help even the odds for me against this monstrosity of a killing machine that is the Rock. During the shooting phase, I opened with both of my bolt throwers. I did multiple shots at that unit of lead belchers there. Managed to pink off another guy there and managed to kill another one of those lead belchers as well. So all is well that ends well, I suppose. During the close combat phase, ended up being a massacre for those, Mornfang Cavalry. We managed to kill 2 of those Mornfang Cavalry between the attacks from my Swordmasters as well as my Phoenix Guard. As you can see there, though, however, my Swordmasters as well as my Phoenix Guard did take some damage from those guys. Like I said before, those Mornfang, man, those guys could put up a fight when they want to, so it was pretty rough on that part. I think I lost 4 Swordmasters. I think I lost 3 more Phoenix Guard on that part, too, so that part was kind of sad. However, because of the combat resolution against my opponent basically had to flee. I pursued with my Phoenix Guard, and I ran those guys down and killed them to the man in the process of doing so. So that is the end of the Mornfang Cavalry on this one. As you see in this picture, we managed to kill that Rock before we even got a chance to do any attacks back. My Lothar Seaguard didn't really do much against them. Same thing with my Illyrian Reavers, but the things that really actually caused the most damage was my White Lions. With their multiple wounds that they were inflicting, with 2 wounds because he was a monster, with their Strength 6 attacks against his Toughness 6, they're kind of fighting on even levels at that part. Also kind of affected his save as well because of the strength of the attacks. Managed to put that guy down into the dirt. So that was the only thing that basically saved me was those White Lions. If it wasn't for them, I would have been in serious trouble in that part. So yeah, Rock is now dead for the count. It's at this point in the battle report that my buddy Burst of Blood takes a look at the table, realizes the only thing he has left are those 5 lead belchers, his 5 bombardiers, and basically he just kind of calls the game at this point, and he pretty much surrenders after that. As you can see there, I still have a lot of my units still on the table. Haven't lost any units per se, but I have lost a bunch for each of my units, which is kind of rough, and that's because I made some really bad mistakes, like things during the deployment and stuff like that. So things I will never be able to really live down anymore because of that part. So yeah, with that being said though, with that all done, this battle report is now officially over. We go directly to the after action report.
Sure, I could have stayed in the past. Could have even been king. But in my own way, I am king.
Hail to the king, baby.
All right, now it's time for the after action report. This is part of the battle report. We talk about what went well, what went poorly, what become for the next time that we do battle as well. So this is the battle after action report for the ninth Saga battle report number 12. And on this one, I got extremely lucky on this battle. I made some really bad calls in my deployment, and my guys were too spread out, too much in a line formation. Didn't really have them in a good position to kind of support each other in the combat phase. So let's just be perfectly clear. The only reason why I won this battle is because I had some luck on my set on that part. Case in point, my opponent, Burps of Blood, he actually deployed his shaman on the flank, and that actually saved me quite a bit, actually, because the way he had his troops, his shaman position, he was really out of range to cast any real spells to really damage any of my guys on that part, so I got pretty lucky on that part as well. And also, because I didn't have to worry about that for the magic phase, he also did a lot of miscasts because he was trying to overpower his spells in order to get the range that he needed. So because of that, he basically destroyed his own flank in the process of doing so. I mean, the most of the casualties that are inflicted on his bulls was by himself with his own misspells and miscasts on those parts. So that part really helped me out because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be able to chew through those bulls so easily with my white lions, and then I wouldn't be able to take out the Rocker Rock like I was able to. If not for that, that Rocker Rock probably would have just charged right through my Sea Guard, destroyed them, and it would have been a huge problem for me later on as well. Another one that really helped me out a lot was Allevian Reavers. Helped me a lot. My Line Reavers really saved me this battle. They helped bog down the Rocker Rock, kept them out of play. Same thing with the Bombardiers for a turn as well to keep those guys from shooting at my boys, which is actually really important for that part. So once again, chaff is always important to have inside of an army as well. One of the other mistakes that I made is I shouldn't have sent in my Highborn Lancers. I was just asking for them to get destroyed when I sent them in like that. The reason why is because my plan wasn't to send them in by themselves. The plan was to send them in with a pincer attack, hitting the Morphine Cavalry in the front with my Lancers, and then hitting them in the flank with my Sword Masters. However, it was a pretty long range charge for my sword masters to do that. So because of that, I kind of put my highborn lancers out of play and just basically asked them to get destroyed in that process. So that was kind of rough as well. So no bueno for me on that part. So that was kind of rough. Another thing that basically won me this game was my special units. Simple as that. Sword masters were really on point. They really helped out and was able to do a lot of damage with the close combats they were able to get involved into. Same thing with my white lions. I mean, they were able to chop up that rock like it was nobody's business because they're basically class A monster slayers. So that pretty much helped me out as well. But the real MVP for my army are still the Flame Wardens. In my opinion, the Flame Wardens are still the best unit in the game of Ninth Age, in my opinion. They get +1 strength for their attack. They have a 4 of War Safe, fighting extra ranks. They got heavy armor. They're one of the most durable units you have out there. And if you threw your inner general in there like I did with my unit, it just becomes a powerhouse. And because of that, like the real center portion of my lines, so that part was really nice as well. The duel also between my generals is actually kind of fun as well. I actually had my general Lord Tywin Lannister duel with my opponent's Great Khan, and that actually was kind of cool as well because the Spear of Blazing Dawn is a no joke magic item. It gives you +1 strength over the toughness of your opponent, so no matter what happens, you're rolling at a 3+ with it for your wounds, and that you just can't beat that. Plus, with the additional strength that's happening, it also kind of helps break down a little bit on the armor saves as well. So that was really helpful for me as well. Now, as another issue that I'm facing for my Highborn Elves, toughness for me is still an issue. All my guys actually are toughness 3, and there's nothing I can really can do with that. Before, whenever you used to have low toughness in Highborn Elves, you just basically switch up Magic Pass. Magic Pass to buff up the toughness for your units that can engage in close combat. But since that is not really an option anymore because the spells or Magic Pass are so restricted for the Highborn Elves, there's nothing I can really do about it. All I can really do is just kind of roll with the punches, get units that have ward saves, high armor saves as well, and just try to outlast my opponent by attacking 2-to-1 odds in every single one of the engagements. So that way I can destroy my opponents and not get bogged down into combats. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up for this one. This is the ninth Saga Battle Report number 12. This one's in the books as a victory for the Highborn Elves. As always, feel free to comment, like, subscribe, put your comments and your input in there. You're just making these battle reports even better, you guys. All right, for now, that's about it. So happy holidays, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.